All right, so I am going to take a short here.
Order. Order submitted.
So trading back into that 5-minute fair value gap, I am just looking for this daily low to be ran, and then I'll manage my trade from there. Stops are going to be above the equilibrium or consequent encroachment of this 5-minute gap. We do have a 15-minute fair value gap here that price could trade back into. But at this point, price is holding for the first 30 minutes of the open. We did reach that 100-point move already, right? But expecting this daily low just to get ran and possibly trade into that 1 standard deviation. And I don't feel like this is a reversal here. If price was going to reverse off this level, it would make a stronger V-shaped recovery. This price action right here is just telling me that we are accumulating to dump lower into this final target of that daily low. And honestly, that's probably where I will take profit. I don't think I really want to look at this daily low as a target, especially since we've already moved so far, right? And the previous daily candle was an inside bar. So it is a very strong possibility that we run for this daily low and completely start reversing for all-time high again. That would not be out of the question for sure. So like I said, just want to catch a quick one today into that daily low. We'll see if price wants to deliver it at the beginning of 10 a.m. here. Which would make sense if price wants to deliver to this daily low and then reverse off of this level. It's going to do it in the 10 a.m. candle. Yo, what up, Jofer? Let's go, man. Didn't see you sneak in here. Yeah, Randy had a pretty nice trade today. Randy had a nice trade right off the open. Swept buy side liquidity. Geo actually had a really good trade as well that he's still in. He's looking at the daily lows, same as me. I actually think my stop loss is actually below his. Yeah, Geo's in profit. His stop's way up here. Mine is still in the line of fire a little bit. So retesting that 15-minute gap. Now, I think if price is going to continue down, it's going to react off of this 15-minute fair value gap, right? So at this point, I do want to just have this gap marked. Now we did invert that 5-minute fair value gap, but I'm not really looking at that as a reversal, right? When we have that clean daily low to the downside. Yeah, man, that's perfectly fine. I do that all the time. I do that all the time. There's nothing wrong with taking profits. I think a lot of people get way too consumed about catching final targets. But you know, like me, for example, we could trade down to this daily low, but I might end up just taking profits at this daily low right here if we trade down into there. Just because, you know, why not? Sometimes, you know, that's trading. That's trading. And sometimes it is very intuition based. And you got to be in tune with the market. Yeah, definitely not bad though. Definitely not bad. Nice trade, brother. Very nice. So yeah, trading up into that fair value gap perfectly. That 15-minute fair value gap. Let's see if price just easily wants to spool down into this area. Now, I don't think, honestly, I don't know if I want to be in the trade. At this point, if we start trading back above this high, I don't know if I want to be in the trade anymore. I'm not too sure if I want to be in that trade. Because we've already retested the fair value gap on the 15. Yeah, I mean, this really just looks like it wants to continue to roll over, right? This is just accumulating here. We just manipulated higher into a 15-minute fair value gap. It really just looks like price wants to roll over to that daily low. Yeah, on this day, you know, in particular, and yesterday, we actually had a 15-minute fair value gap retest. Sometimes you don't even get this retest here, right? So we had price coming back up and tapping into that 15-minute fair value gap off the opening bell. But a lot of times, if price is going to continue spool for the day, you will not get that retest. So today could have been a good opportunity for a better fill, but I took the fill down here at the 5-minute fair value gap, expecting price to just roll over from this point to the daily low, which is fine. You know, like you can get your entry here, you can get your entry here. Obviously, you're going to get a way better risk to reward up at that 15-minute fair value gap, but it might never happen, right? There's two things fair value gaps do. It's either a manipulation or it's distribution. Now, when price is in manipulation, you're going to see that fair value gap obviously invert. And when we're in distribution, sometimes those fair value gaps never get retested. So you have a fair value gap here form on the 5-minute, for example, that has not been retested. This fair value gap right here, right? And this is just a breakaway gap right now. Price is not coming up. Price has not come up and came back into this fair value gap. You can see this candle obviously did not retest. So this is a distribution mode right now into this daily lows. And you see we invert this fair value gap here, but what do we have to the upside? A 15-minute fair value gap. So in this sense, I personally don't think you can get long on this trade until you were to invert that 15-minute fair value gap, right? Because anything is fair game for sells in this area. Anywhere from here all the way up here is fair game for sells into this daily low. Especially when you see price action holding for the first 30 minutes. When you see price action spool down and hold for the first 30 minutes, you can expect a little bit of a continuation for that day, right? You might see 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. make that reversal and start trading higher, but it's going to be very, very apparent if it does that. But the thing about like trying to trade these continuation models, right? So if the first 30 minutes makes this move, you can expect like 10 a.m. to consolidate a little bit before making that another run to the downside. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Gio, I appreciate those kind words, man. I appreciate that, bro. For real. I took a little break from, doing content on social media. Because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of work to like sit down and I went through a little bit of a dry spell as of lately with my trading, probably about a month ago. Really struggling just getting in tune with the market. I felt like nothing was really working for me, but luckily, just being able to manage risk and stay disciplined, I've been able to keep my head in the game. But yeah, it was a little tough, and but getting back on the content game and seeing if we can build the community a little bit more be pretty cool. So it's really nice seeing new faces and inspiring new traders and new members. But I really appreciate those words, man. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I try to just be real. I try to just be transparent and not really no fluff, because trading is far from perfect. That's the thing. And I think a lot of people really try to make this a perfect craft when it's really not. Yeah, for sure, Joe. I definitely look forward to it every morning. It holds you accountable too. Holds you accountable. If I'm sitting here streaming in front of you guys, I'm trying not to make random dumb trading decisions. I'm just trying to look at price logically and where price wants to go, and you know trade the system that I preach about. You know, having a strategy where I'm looking at higher time frame liquidity, managing my risk, and then just staying disciplined. Right? It can be so simple. It can really be so simple. But yeah, like we talk about, we get that opening move where it's pretty solid, we can definitely expect some consolidation, which is what's kind of rolling around here. When you trade a continuation model like this, you can expect to sit a little bit of consolidation. But that's why trading an inversion model is my favorite, honestly, because if we sweep this London low here, we form this fair value gap, and then we trade above this fair value gap and invert this, then we can expect price to run pretty quickly, right? Pretty quickly for these highs after we inverse that fair value gap. But when you're trying to trade a continuation model with the trend, right? So the trend in the 930 open is down, right? You're going to sit this consolidation, and it's most likely going to be during 10 a.m. You know what I mean? Unless price wants to completely, rip higher right now and take us out. Which is definitely possible. The market's going to do what it wants. But as you can see, the first 15 minutes here of 10 a.m., look at this small body candle coming in here, retesting the fair value gap, but not doing anything else. But yeah, super clean delivery off the open, sweeping the minor buy side into the London and Asia low. Very, very nice. At this point, we are trading below that gap. Yeah, I'm really not seeing any bullish price action at this point, so let's see if we can get that follow through. Eric, no trades? Wow, brother. That's impressive. Want to see a little bit more confirmation to the downside. And man, we are holding this 15-minute fair value gap. If I didn't enter, if I wasn't in on this trade, I'd probably enter on this trade now still, because you know, you could put your stop at the high of that fair value gap. Now with my risk parameters, my stop is still a little bit in the line of fire, right? We could come up and we could retest this area. And honestly, anything in this range is still fair game. So, like I said, any fill from here to here is kind of good for shorts, I would say, to continue down for the rest of the day. But it's just a matter of how it wants to get there and when it wants to get there. I think, So, but yeah, like I said, we've already hit our 100-point target here. So, price is definitely cooling off. But very, very similar price action to yesterday, right? In a sense where we immediately traded lower, formed a 15-minute fair value gap, and now we're consolidating for 10 a.m. But looking at the 4 hour, this looks amazing. To me, this 4 hour looks really good. You know, could we have got a better fill up here? Yeah, probably, probably on that 15-minute fair value gap. But at the same time, we are retesting, you know, this bullish candle here. We're closing down below. Like I said, anything above the 4 hour open, I think is a good fill. I got right at that opening price. But yeah, anything up in this range, I think is a nice continuation down towards these 4 hour lows and that daily low. If you just look at the higher time frame, right, looks pretty solid on all of these time frames here. I do want to take that 5 minute off of my chart because it is a little distracting at this point. Now, at this point, with all of this consolidation, I am curious to see if we manipulate into this 5 minute fair value gap before trading lower. Then, my stop loss can really be in a rough spot. I would like to see just continuation, like within the next 20 minutes, honestly, on that 30-minute candle, that next 30-minute candle. That would be ideal. Mhm. Just a waiting game. Yeah, and like I mentioned too, if we were to see that 5 minute fair value gap inverse right there, right? I would not want to see price consolidating still after inverting that fair value gap. I would essentially think that if we inverted that fair value gap, that we would start trading higher almost like right away, like as a V-shaped recovery almost. So this consolidation is just kind of telling me, like I said, that we want to continue lower. But yeah, 2 days in a row, same price action, same price action. So getting a 30-minute inside bar candle, like we talked about, just consolidating, right? This 30-minute candle here, inside bar, just chilling in this range, right? 35-point range. Nothing going on. Boring, boring, boring. Boring, slow price action. The reality of trading. All right, 30-minute fair value gap forming there now. Price is still stuck in this range. Still stuck in that range. Think people are getting chopped up in this 1 minute? What do you guys think? You think people are getting chopped up right now? I feel like this 1 minute wasn't as bad as yesterday. Yesterday's 1 minute consolidation was pretty bad, right? All of this right here was pretty rough. Not gonna lie. Hmm. Yeah, I'm actually curious to see if we run for that current weekly low today. Which would be that daily low. Honestly, I think it might be good to just go break even. If we break out of this consolidation and we hit this daily low, we just go break even and let this trade run for the day, honestly. And see if we can hit that second daily low and that weekly low. Or do I just take my profit? Do I just take my profit? I think maybe I take my profit. I don't know though, because 4 hour looks pretty good. 4 hour looks pretty good. So does that daily. Daily looks good as well. Very tough decision. Very tough. All right. ES is trying to get down there as well. I would love for this 30-minute candle to make its move, right? We are sweeping the low of that 30-minute candle. I really don't want to sweep the high. I want to see this treat as a breakaway gap at this point and just trade into that daily low. Yeah, that 5 minute candle is not what I want to see though. Do not want to see a manipulation like this. So trading up into that 1 minute order block. See what price wants to do. Could be a last liquidity grab to go lower. Now we're back in drawdown. Sheesh. Back in drawdown. Hmm. This is like watching paint dry sometimes. Sheesh. It's definitely like watching paint dry. Yeah, at this point with this consolidation, I feel like when this breaks to the downside, I feel like it's gonna let loose a little bit and spool pretty heavy. Just because we are just consolidating so hard and engineering so much liquidity, I think that we could run through those daily lows pretty easily into that one standard deviation. Yeah, so ES still just kind of chilling in that range. And Q is making its way lower towards that daily low, but and Q lagging behind a bit. Or, excuse me, ES lagging behind. That's why, sometimes I really like to just zoom out, take a step back, and look at where price is going to go for the day. Instead of analyzing each individual candle, because if you're trying to analyze each individual candle, it can really burn you out. You know what I mean? But if I came to the market today, and I saw price action start running down here, and you could say your target was the daily low, right? You say your target is the daily low. What you could do is, you could just place your trade with a safe stop loss and walk away for the day and maybe monitor it, periodically. Whereas, when you're sitting here and watching paint dry and these candlesticks form, it could really like be taxing, right? And burn you out a little bit. So sometimes that is why I like to, just look at the overall picture and where price is likely to go for the day and just go off that, right? It's a lot easier to look at it that way sometimes and just go about your day or do something else, because you sit here and you try to micromanage your trade, or you try to take all the setups in this 1 minute area between the hours of 9:30 a.m. and 11. Of course you're going to get chopped up, right? Of course you're going to get chopped up back and forth price action. So sometimes definitely better just to get your fill and then just go do something. Go do something, or let the trade play out and do its thing. It's like yesterday, if I just let the trade do its thing, it would have hit take profit, no problem. But I scaled in one contract, over managed my trade, closed it a little early. Granted, if it hit my stop loss, I would have been happy about that. But, sometimes you can just decide where price is going to go and place your trade and just walk away, one and done for the day. But we're getting this 10 a.m. candle closing as an inside bar, very similar to yesterday's candle, very similar to yesterday's price action. We'll see if we can get some follow through here at 11 a.m. or the last 15 minutes of this 10 a.m. candle. We can get some follow through to this daily low. Be right back. I'm going to get some water real quick. We back in drawdown. Back in drawdown again. Yeah, price is just really chilling in this range. Holy. All right, so that 30-minute sweeping, the low, we have that inside bar candle. Let's see if this 30 minutes sweeps the high as well of this consolidation range. Or if we continue lower and take out that daily low. Like I talked about before, sometimes when you have consolidation ranges like this, you see both sides of liquidity being ran. So on this 30-minute time frame, we could see the low get ran and the high. I preferably would like to see the high get ran and then the low and then continue to go down. But in this case, we're running that low and we could go for the high and retest this fair value gap. Unless price wanted to completely revert that fair value gap in the next 10 minutes, which is, obviously possible. Anything's possible in the market, but so no SMT down here. This is not SMT, right? Look at ES. We do not have it. So not expecting a reversal here. Still expecting the continuation down to that daily low, especially when it's such a clean target and the daily has not taken the higher low, right? Have not taken the daily higher low. So still a clean target in my eyes. Hmm. All right, so we're in that 1050 macro. Very curious to see if we run up for this 30-minute fair value gap and what happens after that. Essentially have this breaker as well, this 30-minute breaker, but I don't know, I could be holding this trade for a little bit. I still have conviction down towards this daily low, but price is just taking its time, right? And as of now, we are building some liquidity on both sides, right? Starting to form a little bit of a triangle pattern. Getting some trend line liquidity here. We could be getting that manipulation out and now trading for the lows. Hmm. All right, so that hourly has not taken the low yet. We could see that last 5 minutes of this candle sweeping the low, right? Hmm. All right, let's see if we can get that continuation. We had a similar move right here at the start of 1030. Definitely thought that this was going to be the move that took us down to that low, but then we had price trickle back up. So let's see if we can get that same thing, right? But this time running for those lows after sweeping minor sell side or buy side. Getting some follow through. See if price wants to continue at this point. Yeah, price is playing some games, that's for sure. I guess it doesn't want to take that hourly low. Yeah, this could be the final minute. If not, I'm expecting 11 a.m. to roll around and take us to that daily low pretty quickly at 11 a.m., right? And if it doesn't, then I don't really want to be in this trade much longer. But yeah, possibly 11 a.m. rolls around and takes us into that daily low and that one standard deviation. So if we break through this low, it might happen pretty sharp, pretty quickly, right? Yeah, I think I do just want to go break even at this point. Honestly, I do not want to see price come back up to that level, right? Especially after 11 a.m. here. I would much rather see it respect that fair value gap and just run for that daily low. And if we come back in the range, I really don't want any part of it anymore. I don't want to sit in another hour of consolidation. I'd rather just walk away for the day, right? Hmm. Lots of waiting today. Lots of waiting. Not ideal. All right, Jover. Take it easy, brother. I'll see you tomorrow. Hmm. All right, so price is looking to take that low. ES is not taking that low, so we'll see what happens if NQ wants to break here. Could get a little S&T. Hmm. Very, very slow. Very, very slow. Still waiting to see if price wants to trade through this daily low. Looks like it really wants to at this point. It's just a matter of waiting it out. Is price going to do it? Is it going to do it? It's got to do it, right? It's got to do it. All right, breaking that low. Let's see if we can get it. One last final push into that daily low will give us that target. And I'm going to close there.
Order filled.
All right, so pretty solid trade. Waited over an hour. Waited over an hour for that to play out. Had to sit through some consolidation, but finally reaching that daily low that we really wanted to get there.